And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
What's up, everyone? It is the Weighing In Podcast. And as you can tell, my man was not ready for any of it, but now he's feeling cocky. He's feeling ready to go. And we got some fights to talk about, all kinds of other good stuff. My man, what's happening? You feeling good?
Feeling a little aroused right now, buddy.
Go ahead and rub them nipples, baby.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling wonderful. And it was a good day today. A lot of activity going on today. I went to a local gym here in Texas. Got a little extra training in and got on the mats a little bit. It's look, I think you maybe know, and you've heard it from other fighters. It's a little difficult to go to a new gym and just feel like everyone's going to try to like hurt you or try and do something stupid. And you're just like, I don't want to roll with these, but you got to stay busy. You got to stay active. I mean, just like I was talking about the other day, my body, man, the less I do, the more it feels like it just doesn't want to move.
More it hurts.
Yeah, more it hurts. The more it doesn't want to move. Like getting in and out of the car, I was like, man, because I mean, I have been running a little bit. I have been lifting a little bit. And not super heavy, but not as often as I need to be. I've got to be lifting and running probably four times a week minimum. That 4 to 5 is kind of the sweet spot. Anything more than 5 starts having an effect on me. And then anything less than like 3 or 3 and less kind of is not, I feel like I'm not getting anything out of it. So I don't know. It just is it feels. Anyways, I walk in, I get some training in. One of the neighbors here that I met in my community, he was training at this little local spot, and so I went over there and got some rolling in. Felt good. I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
I was so tired.
You definitely lose the ability to relax right away.
I was exhausted. I was like, after John, we got halfway through the warm-ups, and I was like, why do I feel a little heavy right now? Just, when everything starts to fill up, the arms and the legs and everything, it just starts filling up with blood, and you're like, man, this is not going to go well. And I got my 3 rounds in. I know that the next time will be a lot better, and then the next time after that will be a lot better. And I think in about a week I'll feel explosive again, like a animal. Yeah.
No. That explosive. That explosive is no longer in your vocabulary.
You're supposed to be making me feel better about this.
I am here to make you feel better. I'm just being.
It's not easy, man.
Look, you can have a good time. You know what you do is you just do what I do when I go and roll. Hey, just so you know, I got a bad right knee. I got a bad neck. Don't grab me in a guillotine. Don't grab me in this. And you have any other problems? Yeah. You tell me what your problems are. I won't grab those.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
I felt bad.
And it's just the way it is.
The very first guy I rolled with today, I went to a toe hold, like real quick. I went to a toe hold and I wasn't going hard. No.
Let go of that.
No. I went to the toe and I was like, he's a blue belt. I'm like, all right, he's fine. I didn't like put it on. I just had it in the position and then he tried to donkey kick out and it pushed into my hand. His fucking ankle went, and I was like, ugh. See, come on, kid. What are you doing?
See, but that's the problem. Is you'll get guys they'll start to spaz on you, and all of a sudden they'll roll the wrong way or any of those things, and you go, "What are you doing?" I don't know. Well, he doesn't know.
So I'm gonna go back tomorrow. The rough part is it's a 5 a.m. workout.
That's a rough one.
I'm still not like kind of fully adjusted, I think, to the time here. I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, I feel like I can be till like midnight.
Dude, if you're up and ready to roll at 5 a.m.,
yeah,
my hat's off to you. You're a much better person.
It's not far either. It's like 10 minutes away from the house. So I get lucky though, because the neighbor he actually just lives 1 block over. So he's like, I'll just swing by and pick you up. So I'm like, all right, cool. I don't got to get in the car and drive down. And he just swoops me up. So I like that. It feels good. Yeah, but it was a good experience. It was good to be back on the mats. I've been nursing this wrist injury for a long time, and it's been miserable. I've got a little torn ligament in there, and I had the same surgery on my left wrist that I'm going to potentially have to have on my right. There's nothing I can do. I think I'm supposed to go out to Tijuana and do some stem cells with a couple of my buddies that own a stem cell research place out there. So I'm going to try and do that. Look at my hair just flipping out.
What
right?
the hell are you
trying
doing?
to fix it, but it wasn't getting anywhere.
Oh, you're fixing it all right.
And so I'm supposed to head out there at the end of September, but I'm trying to figure out when, because we do Dublin the end of September. And then maybe the week after. I'm hoping maybe that week after. It's a whole week of stem cells, so they'll hit me in a couple different spots, a bunch of IVs, and some.
Tape it up till then.
Yeah, I have been, man, but it's like a half a roll of tape every time. And last time I checked, man, tape is not cheap, my friend.
Yeah, either stem cells.
You know me though, John. I'm super cheap. I'm the cheapest guy you probably know.
No.
Well, hey, you know what? It's been a good couple days. Our last show, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I went back and listened to it. I thought we did a good job. We had some fun, especially at the end. We had some fun. But we've got some big fights coming up this weekend. The whole card is a good card. But you know what we didn't do last weekend? What we didn't do last weekend was we didn't rate the fights. We didn't rate the card. What like let's go back to the PFL just real quick. What did you rate that card?
Oh my God, man! See that, and this is what happens: is I don't remember exactly everyone on the card, but I loved the last fight. I loved Clay Collard against Shane Burgos. I thought it was fantastic. OAM looked good. I don't know. I would rate that 7.5, 8 at least.
Yeah. I was gonna say about the 8 mark. I was gonna say about the 8 mark. I give us some love. That main event really stole the show. And I got to be honest. If you're gonna have, if you don't have a good, prelims and undercard and all those things, the main event can change everything and get people talking about it. And that's exactly what I think. And I'm not saying that the rest of the card wasn't good. They had some good good fights. The OAM fight was definitely, it was a good fight, fun fight. The Clay Collard fight was fantastic. And, and so they had some good fights on the card. So I'm going to go about an 8. What would you give the Max Holloway card?
Oh, see, again, I'm taking a look. And although I didn't think the whole card was great, I loved everything about the last fight. I love the way that Max Holloway handled himself in it. I love the way that Korean Zombie handled himself in it. I loved what the UFC did as far as playing Zombie afterwards and letting him walk out with the, and having the crowd and all that. I just loved all of that. I thought that that's what a promotion does for a guy that has given everything that he can give to him. And I thought they treated him well with that, and I really enjoyed it. So I would say 8.5. Yeah,
I was gonna give him a little bit of a 1-up on it. I mean, I think
overall probably a better card overall than the PFL.
Yeah,
but and again, it was the last fight really sold it.
Yeah, I would give more of the fight itself to the PFL. Their main event I felt was a little bit better.
Yep.
The fight itself,
was more competitive,
but the nostalgia of what happened in the main event for the UFC, and Korean Zombie retiring, the Zombie walk in, walk out was fantastic. Max kind of solidified himself as the number 1, potentially next in line for another shot at Volk. All of those things, I felt like there was a lot on the line with the Maui situation where, they're still looking for people, and a lot of pressure on Max to get that microphone and be able to speak what's on his mind, to show support to, to people in Hawaii. So it was very important to him, and it's not the easiest thing to do, to go out there and get that win under that type of pressure, knowing that's what you want. You want that opportunity to say what is on your mind, to show the support and the love for all your family members or your friends and their family members, from Hawaii. So, I would give it an 8.5 also. So, all right, but hey, let's go ahead and move on to this week's cards. And you've got, what number is this there, Dave?
It's UFC Paris.
UFC Paris. Okay, so there's no number to it.
That would mean it's UFC Paris number 2.
Yes, UFC Paris number 2.
Well,
is it number 2?
UFC Paris.
This is the second time in Paris.
Third time. I thought it was
first time was Cyril Gane against Tai Tuivasa.
They didn't just. Oh, okay, I thought maybe this was their third one. No,
I think this is their second.
I don't know why.
They're just calling it UFC Paris.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, UFC Paris. So you got Cyril Gane, who is 11-2, and you've got Sergey Spivac, who is 16-3.
I think it's a great matchup, and I'll tell you what, anybody that's counting Sergey Spivac out of this is foolish.
Yes.
Sergey Spivac is a giant walrus of a man and he's tough as hell. He's got talent. He's got on the ground. He's better than Cyril Gane. On the feet, I give it to Cyril Gane, and it is the question of what does Sergey Spivac do to get this fight down to the ground? How does he get into that clinch? What does he do to get a hold of Cyril Gane? Can he do that? That's the real question maker, because if he gets the fight to the ground, he has the advantage in the fight. If the fight stays on the feet, I give it to Cyril Gane having the advantage. But this is a really good fight. I think you cannot count anybody out. Yeah,
I mean, I'm going to look at Spivac in terms of, I think that he'll be able to do a lot more damage on the feet that people are going to give him credit for. Or they think that they believe that he'll be able to get done on the feet against Cyril Gane. I think Cyril Gane, the speed, the movement, all those things that you've talked about, we've talked about forever with Cyril Gane, he has all those attributes and he can utilize them. He's got to keep his back off the fence. He can't allow his back foot to hit the fence. Because in those pressure situations, it's easy to get caught with something, a big shot, or just press to the fence and taken down. So he's going to have to keep that movement, keep his back off the fence. And if I was Cyril Gane's coaches, I'd be telling him, take the center. Every time he steps in, snap him the jab in the face, hit him with a little thigh kick.
Into that.
Hit him with that little thigh kick. Hit him with some shots that that are going to stop his movement. The push kick up the middle, the thigh kick, and the jab that snaps the neck back. Those type of things that will get you to stop in your place. Because as he starts allowing him to Spivac to push him back within that little black circle, that little black line that fighters like to use as a foot or a benchmark for their foot to go past. I'm looking at that. So if Sergey Spivac can actually push him back in that black line, then he's going to be winning the fight. If he doesn't, then I think Cyril Gane's going to be just touching him and just scoring points until eventually Spivac's going to make a mistake and get caught. But I don't see this fight going the distance. 5 rounds, I don't see it going the distance. I think someone's going to get the finish.
I agree with you. I don't see it going the finish too, but Spivac is a lot better than people realize with his foot sweeps, his trips. He's got a lot of judo background to him, and man, he's pretty agile for a big guy. He does things well, so Gane's got to be on point if he wants to get the win.
You know what it is, though, John, is that when I feel like heavyweights, and I think all fighters, they should spend a lot more time with the judo takedowns, the foot sweeps, the knee up the crotch kind of to lift, and then the twist and takedown, a wrestling type mentality or sambo type and judo type takedowns, because those are key against the fence. I think there's a lot less effort if done correctly, if using the movement, and I think for heavyweights, it's something that could just be done so easily. And once the heavyweights hit the ground, they're like tortoises on their back. They just can't get up, And so any opportunity a heavyweight has to get a fight to the ground, they should be trying to snatch that up. And I understand why heavyweights don't like to train wrestling or they don't like to train, in the takedown areas. It's because it's a lot of work to get your ass back up there and do it again. You got to drill it over and over again. But it's also a lot of energy and potentially put yourself at danger if you don't get the takedown. But in these foot sweeps and these little trips and all those things, those are things that you can catch them off guard and just the movement, and you can just sweep their foot easily without a whole lot of effort and end up on top. So I feel like a lot of these heavyweight fighters are missing this opportunity. And I think the first ones to kind of come along and do that, DC was one of them. Kane was more of the double leg and the takedown and, in the single leg and the wrestling that way. But I feel like guys that have been able to utilize their foot sweeps. I remember when DC did it to Dan Henderson. I mean, it looked poetic out there, man. The way he was able to kind of like dip the head, got the takedown, got the big dump, and he got up, he just foot swept him out. It looked beautiful. Beautiful. And I think if you can find more heavyweights that can start to hit those type of takedowns, make it effortless, I think you're going to see those type of heavyweights start to get to the top a lot faster. Yep.
But it's a good matchup. Like I said, I love a fight when you can look and say, both guys can win this. You might, Gane will probably be the underdog. I mean, the favorite in the fight, when it, happens, but it's not going to be by a whole lot.
Well, let's pull up the rankings, please. And I'm looking at the heavyweight rankings. What are you thinking there? Both of these guys have a lot at stake. Where is Spivac at? There, he's number 7.
Spivac is down to 7.
Gane's number 2. Pavlovich is probably just waiting there in the cuts. He's just kind of waiting there, waiting to see who wins this next fight. He'll probably fight the winner of John Jones and Stipe. And who knows? Now, John had said this a while ago. John Jones had said, I'm going to fight Stipe, greatest heavyweight champion of all time. I'm just going to be done. Do you believe that?
Man, you never know with John. I really don't know, because if there's one thing I would say, obviously John has had holes within his career as far as time lengths that he has not fought. And I could see him taking some time off again after the Miocic fight. But, as long as he's put his money into the right things and he's done the right, he's making big money. Now, he's got a big contract as far as he just signed a big contract. So I tend to think that he's still going to fight more. But, when you take a look at the list of heavyweights there, who's going to give him big problems? Now, look at Pavlovich can hurt anybody in the stand-up, and John can be hurt in the stand-up. And if there's one thing that we're going to see, in my opinion, with the John at heavyweight, is the one thing that gave him more problems in the light heavyweight was guys that had his size frame or close to it. Mm-hmm. Well, most of the guys, let's be honest, Pavlovich is 6'4", Stipe is 6'4", Aspinall 6'5". Everyone is bigger. You can get into Volkov is 6'7", 6'8". They're all big framed.
Yeah, they're all big framed. I agree with you, and you and I talked about this for the longest time, and I've said the guys at the 205-pound division that were his frame were giving him a problem. But the difference is the guys that are his frame in the heavyweight, they don't have the athleticism that those guys at 205 did. Those guys at 205 were better athletes than the guys in the heavyweight division, outside of maybe like Cyril Gane and this young kid Almeida, but he and Aspinall. So you've got those three. A younger Stipe, I would have probably said, okay, he's got the athleticism. A younger Stipe. But some of these other guys, man, they don't have the athleticism. Tuivasa does not have the athleticism. Volkov doesn't have the athleticism. Derek Lewis does not. Tabura does not. Rosenstruck does not. You could probably, once you get down that far, that's not even worth talking about.
No.
But I get up there, young Stipe, Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades has athleticism, very athletic. But I look at Jon Jones going to heavyweight. I felt like him going to heavyweight was to prolong his career. Fight the guys that are not anywhere near as athletic as you. Majority of them are not as fast as you, but you're a better wrestler. You're a better striker, than the majority of them. You're definitely a better wrestler than almost all of them. Maybe outside of Curtis Blades, but I would be willing to bet you'd probably get a good. I think that Jon Jones would be able to stuff a takedown and get a couple takedowns as well. Yeah. In this fight. So the only fights that really interest me with him and is the Tom Aspinall. Go back, please. Is the Tom Aspinall fight?
Yep.
The Spivac fight. If Spivac gets it done against Cyril Gane, is the Spivac fight. So Pavlovich, Aspinall, Spivac, if he gets it done against Cyril Gane, and of course Almeida. But Almeida's got some ways to go. He's still maturing, has to work on his stand-up, good on the ground, physically strong. You could see that he's athletic. You can see he's not he's that more of that hybrid type heavyweight that we've seen coming around these days with Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. Their body frames fit them to be, I don't know how to explain it. It just fits them.
They're fit.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not carrying a lot of excess body fat.
No.
And they fit that 6'4" to 6'5", 245, 255 pound frame that carries all that weight really well. That's what you're looking at there, and that's why they're athletic.
Well,
those guys? You got to admit, heavyweight or not, they're athletic. John is an athlete. He's athletic.
Absolutely.
Tom Aspinall is athletic. If you're looking at Gelton Almeida, he's athletic. So that's what you're looking for. And that, heavyweights, not everyone is athletic. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this. Does Spivac jump up past Tom Aspinall, or does Tom Aspinall jump up past if Spivac beats Cyril Gane?
If Spivac beats Cyril Gane, you're going to see Aspinall rise up. Spivac will end up below Aspinall.
You believe so?
In my opinion.
I would think so too. That's where I was leaning at. There's a lot at stake for both of them. Spivac making a huge jump up into that top 2 or 3, and Cyril Gane trying to stake his claim in that number 1, number 2 spot. But Sergey Pavlovich, I think, is just sitting there waiting to see who the winner of Stipe Miocic and John Jones is. So a lot at stake for both these guys. A lot at stake. All right, let's go ahead. Go co-main event.
Co-main event, you're looking at Rose Namajunas going up to flyweight from strawweight and taking on Manon Fiorot. And it's a good matchup in the stand-up because, Fiorot's good. She's got talent in stand-up, and her ground is getting better all the time. I don't think that her ground matches up with Rose's. Although, sometimes Rose doesn't show the confidence in her ground game, she's slick on the ground. She absolutely can hold position. She swings into arm bars and triangles to transition very well. She's good on the ground. Now, is the fight going to go there? Not if you're Fiorot, you don't want it to. You want to keep it in the stand-up, but having Rose in the stand-up is not that good because she's a sniper. So it's going to be interesting how Rose does with that 10 extra pounds. Does that help her or does it kind of hurt her?
I'm a huge Rose fan, but I'm just not okay with this up and down stuff. Like, it seems like something's going on with her. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. Why are you leaving the weight class? You were at 115. She's champ. Could be champ. She already beat the
top of the food chain.
Yeah, she's
already beaten the champion twice.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't get it, but maybe she wants a new challenge. New challenge is not to have to cut the weight and then be there at 125, but there's a whole different level of animals up there, right? I mean, these females can get after it. The size does make a difference, a little bit of that size, especially I feel like it's different for the females more so than it is for the males. I don't know if the females walk around 15, 20, 30 pounds over like the males do. So you know what I mean? Like if Rose goes up, she's probably walking at 130. Okay. So she cuts 5 pounds and fights at 125. If a male was to fight at 115, he's probably walking 145 or 135 and cutting to 115. But then when they put the weight back on, they're putting it on back up to, whatever it is, 128 or, from 115 to 128 to 130. So the gains back on make a big difference when it comes fight time. I don't know if it's that big of a difference in the jump and how much they weigh in the females. They don't put the weight back on as high as the males do.
A lot of them do.
You think so?
Not quite as high. Yeah. Not quite as high as some of the males. But if you're looking at the average of males, the women are losing just as much weight. They're cutting a lot of weight.
Really?
Yeah, they are. Okay, let's take a look at,
because
what's that?
Because every female I ever trained, whether it was for Golden Gloves, whether it was for MMA fights, every time we got to the weight cutting part, they were just sucked clean, and they were only able to get like 10, maybe 14 out, and then they're done.
About 15 pounds.
Yeah, they're done. Males are cutting 20 to 25, some even up to 30.
Yeah, but you're also taking a look at a limited scope of when you're getting into smaller males, they can only lose so much too. The bigger the human being, the more they can lose.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you're looking at the women, you're looking going from atom weight at 105 up to lightweight. That's the biggest, that we have at 155. That, obviously the atom weight person is not going to be able to lose that much weight, but it's comparable.
Interesting. I think that Fiorot is gonna. I think she has a good chance to beat Rose. I think I don't want to say the power. I think the speed of Rose is going to give her some problems. The long jab, the combinations, the long kicks, all of those things. But I think if Fiorot is able to keep the constant pressure, we've seen Rose slow down, and if she's able to trap her against the fence, hang on her a little bit, kind of wear her down, elbows, knees, make her carry the extra weight. Then you'll see Rose not be the same fighter by the end of round 2 because they're going to fight at a different pace. Rose is used to fighting those 5-round fights, so she can pace herself and fight at a good pace.
Dave, pull up Rose's career. I want you to think about something here, okay? If you take a look at her record, and if you go through that, the list, keep on going down, take a look at the people that have given her problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's always people that usually take the fight to the ground. It's not the stand-up fighters.
Yeah.
She does great with stand-up fighters. It's always the people that she worries about them taking her down. I don't think she's worried about taking her down. And I think she looks at it as a stand-up fight. And if you're going to, say, she lost to Karolina Kowalkiewicz, that was a while ago and it was a split decision, but that was one of the only stand-up fighters that I can really think of her losing to. She just doesn't lose to stand-up fighters.
Yeah. I mean, the way she beat Joanna both times. I mean, Joanna's considered to be, I think, probably one of the best stand-up fighters ever to step foot in the octagon.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
I look at that, and she was able to beat her twice. One time TKO'd her, and I mean, outside of that, the only other person I think on the feet that would give her a hard time would have been Valentina. She has a loss to Tisha Torres down there. I think the speed of Tisha, the in, the out, the style of which Tisha fights could give people fucking headaches. Because Tisha's just like the little tiny tornado. She gets in and she gets out before you can actually touch her. And that was relatively long ago, 2013. That's 10 years ago. But I look at those fights and I think to myself, man, you're right, John. The people that did or were able to beat her, Carla Esparza, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, those type of fighters. Yeah. So scroll on up, Jessica Andrade. With the big slam.
If you really look at the Jessica Andrade, that was a slam.
Yep. And then she came back and beat Jessica Andrade in a split, though, But, she knocked out Weili Zhang and then also beat Weili in a split also in that one, then lost in one of the worst fights I've ever seen in history against Carla Esparza.
You had to bring that up.
I had to, man. I had to. Because we all know she's better than that.
Yes.
We all know that both of them are better than that. We just couldn't get it out of them that night.
It was just bad. Sometimes, you got to blame the fighters, but it's also the trainers and the coaching staff. They come up with a game plan, and I do believe that both women stuck with that game plan, and it just made for just a bad fight.
Yeah, yeah. I think the only other fight that was probably that bad was the.
I can name a couple.
The heavyweights. Derek Lewis and
Derek Lewis and Gane.
Yeah,
horrible.
That was horrible.
Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn, number 2. Horrible.
That's right. I forgot about that one.
Oh God, it was bad.
Wow. All right, next fight.
Our next fight is Benoit Saint Denis, who has really come back from a fight that I really worried about him in when he was in Abu Dhabi, fighting on Fight Island at the time, but he's taken on the best fighter that he's ever faced in Thiago Moises. Thiago is good. Mm-hmm. People don't realize how good he is. And I love St. Denis. He's tough. He's good. I don't think he's good enough to take out Thiago, though.
He's good. And you said he's tough. But toughness is not going to give him past the abilities of Thiago Moises. Moises' wrestling, his power in his feet, his confidence now on the feet, all of those things are
confidence on the ground.
Yeah, all those things that he possesses, and it's more of the technique. Is who is the better technical fighter, and who has fought higher level of competition? I'm going to say Thiago.
Well, that's not close.
Yeah, it's going to be Thiago. So Moises, I think, he's really just going to. And I think people look at him and go, oh, yeah, but he's lost to this guy. He's lost to some really good fighters. And he's been.
I was going to say, who's he lost to?
Scroll up.
He's lost to studs.
Yeah, he's lost to all studs. Look on Moises.
Okay, so.
Islam was one of them. Joe Alvarez, Ismagulov, but Benil Dariush. Scroll on up. No, the other way. But
up the other way.
I saw wins up there.
It's all
got you
wins.
down to the
Okay,
losses.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just Joe Alvarez, Islam Makhachev, and Benil Dariush. I mean, just a couple names, to think about. But just he's tough. He's tough. Don't look at the 6 and be like, oh man, he's lost 6 times. No. He's fought tough fighters, and those tough fighters, sure, he's come up short. But his fight with Islam, it was a good fight. He fought his ass off in that fight. It was a good fight. He gave Islam some problems in some areas. And but no, overall good fight. I just think technically he is a better fighter. On the feet, on the ground, the inside the cage, the fight IQ is there. All of those things are there. And I think I could see a potential finish in this fight. Although St. Denis is very, very stubborn. He's tough. He's stubborn.
He's tough. There's no quitting that man. So, but we got Volkan Ozdemir taking on Bogdan Guskov. This is one of those ones. Bogdan is one of those guys people look at and they go, he's not that good. Yeah, he just wins. Mm-hmm. He just wins. And look, Volkan has had his moments where he's shined in the stand-up. He's got power. He's got good, length to him. He hits like a truck when, he connects. It's guys taking him to the ground and being able to control him. That's a big part of this. And does Bogdan do that? I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get Volkan there and keep him there enough times during the fight, but it's a really good, it's a close matchup.
I would say it's a close matchup, but I would lean more towards Ozdemir, depending on which Ozdemir shows up. The one that fights smart, the one that doesn't make mistakes as the fight goes on towards the end of the fight. He's probably one of the best fighters I've seen in that first round into that second round. As he starts to get tired, he starts making mistakes. And he just sometimes let the fight slip away, gets caught with a big shot, he gets rocked, whatever it is. It gives up takedowns and then just kind of concedes the position. You can't concede the position. You've got to keep working to get up. I remember when he exploded on the scene, man. He was so good. He came in, everyone's all hype about him and stuff, and he had some great fights. But Bogdan is going to be able to kind of press that fence. He's going to try to get in his face, grind on him a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be able to get the takedown.Ozdemir's gotten a lot better at stuffing takedowns, getting his back off the fence, all of those things. But I'm going to actually lean with Ozdemir on this one. I think it's that kind of that moment of truth. You've got to. Looks like they'll probably be opening the card or the second fight on the card, and so I'm looking to see if he's going to be able to carry the weight. They need him to carry the weight.
They need either guy to step up and be one of those guys that they can count on in the light heavyweight division.
Well, they need someone to open up this card and make it exciting.
Probably not the opening. That would make it only 4 fights.
No, I know, but
I think Gomez versus Gamuri is.
But this first fight, they're going to have this. This first fight's going to be good, but they're gonna need someone to back up the next one because then you got Thiago and St. Denis. Thiago could just take him down and hold him down, and do the ground and pound and control the top position against St. Denis. And then the same thing with Rose and Ferro. Like you could see, both they could be a stand-up fight. Or one of them could try getting the other one to the ground to slow it down and control the top position. So, got to be careful on these fights. Next fight.
William Gomez versus Yanis Gamuri. Both guys 12-2 for Gomez. I think 12-1 for Yanis. Both guys talented. Mm-hmm. I think that's why they have them opening up this card. Both guys are fast. Both guys move well. Ground game, both are good. They can take the fight there. They can be there. They're not those guys that you're looking at they're not gonna submit a world champion, but both guys have talent there. This is an even fight. Mm-hmm. This is a tough one for me to pick.
I agree.
And both guys got motors too.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean with Gomez though a little bit. I think I believe the reach on him is gonna be a little bit more than Giannis.
Is it?
I think so. Can you pull it up?
The reach?
Yeah, on Gomez. What's his reach?
I gotta Google it. So.
Oh, okay. I think the reach will be a little bit more, and the speed I think is gonna be a little bit more.
Okay.
And so I think
I'll give you speed.
Okay.
That's why he's called the Jaguar. He's fast, but
73-inch reach.
Know. Yeah.
Right there. What's
compared to? You were fast on that day, but you got to be faster to bring up the next. No, wrong guy.
There we go. That's a horrible last name to have to spell.
Reach on here. It doesn't have it on this. It must be his first UFC fight.
It must be really short. Oh,
Look, you got to figure 73 inches for a featherweight. That's decent.
Yeah.
It's decent. So it probably does have a little bit more
profile on him in the UFC
of an
website.
advantage.
Yeah.
They don't even have a profile on him. Yeah. I mean,
I've seen Gamarri fight.
Mhm.
It's good. He's got talent, man. So, but I agree with you. I think Gomez has got the advantage in the fight.
John, is there any other fights on here you wanted to chat about? Scroll down to the first 2 fights on this card so we can take a look at it. I didn't see them. No. Basharat down there. Free Basharat.
Anglusa's taking on McKee again. Reese McKee came back into the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He had one of those, I guess, I don't want to say, what do you say? Not too lucky fights against a guy named Khamzat. I think that was his Khamzat's second fight, quick against Reese McKee. But yeah, he's a tough dude, and he's actually a good fighter. So it'll be nice to see him against Lusa.
All right. Was Jocelyn Edwards her last fight? She got knocked out. Click on that.
No, Jocelyn Edwards won her last fight, but it was I think there was one of those ones where most people thought she lost. Yep.
She did win.
Against Pudlova.
Got it. I was trying. There was one. I can't remember. I thought it was Jocelyn Edwards. All right. Well, hey, that's gonna wrap up our UFC talk. Before we move on, go to onlyfans.com/weighing in. Onlyfans.com/weighing in. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. We want to thank you guys for supporting us. We continue to thank you guys over and over again. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So subscribe and hit up on our Clips channel. Subscribe there and then turn that little bell on for the notifications. We want to thank you guys so much. And John, let's go ahead and move into something else. What else you got for us, Dave?
Yeah. First thing here is
news. We got news already.
Yeah, we got news already.
Yes.
Reports out that Ronda Rousey from Daily Mail saying that she had a hard stop in WWE at SummerSlam because she was wanted to get back into training for MMA, and so there is talks of a UFC 200 return. That's reports from a Daily
UFC
Mail.
300?
300.
UFC 300. Is that what I said?
No, you said 200.
You said 200.
Oh, sorry.
It's past.
And then Dana White did shut it down at one of the last press conferences he did, though, but Daily Mail since then has reported otherwise, so I just want to get your thoughts on the potential fight she may have at UFC 300.
Well, first off, you can't blame Dana for, if that is something that he's worked on. He doesn't want to put that out right away, and so I don't blame him for dismissing it and not being truthful with it. What do you expect? He's the promoter. He wants to bring it out. If that's something he's working on, he wants to bring it out where it's going to work best for the sale of that show and everything. So that means nothing. He's done that before. You want to say lied. It's really not a lie. It's misinformation. Let's say that.
No, what it is it gives him the opportunity to promote the fight the way he wants to promote it and not have the media promote it that way. Secondly, what it does is it doesn't put any added pressure on Ronda Rousey if she decides that she doesn't want to do it. She gets into training camp and is like, fuck, this is not what I remember it being like. And I can relate to that. I went to jiu-jitsu this morning. I was like, this sucks. So, look, there's a lot of reasons. They don't want to announce it because then that fighter feels like they're back into a corner and they have to do it. They don't want to announce it because they want the ability to control the narrative on how they want to promote it. And that makes sense. I mean, so like John was saying, it's not a lie. It's just that, look, as of right now, we're still scribbling it down on a napkin before we write out this game plan. And that's kind of what they're doing. So let them do their thing. Look, so-called journalists have lost their jobs for breaking things early because, they weren't ready for it. So this is what happens.
That was at 200.
Yeah.
For 200.
So it just comes down to you got to let the promotions do what they do, and that's called promoting. And,
but be honest. Think about this. I could see her coming back, but if she did come back, who do you think that they would match her up with?
Miesha Tate.
Exactly. That's the exact person I would think that they would.
But Miesha's at 25?
Maybe Holly Holm.
I don't think so.
A Holly Holm now, I could see maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't think they'd give her Pena?
No.
Not even close.
No.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking they would, possibly a Misha Tate. She's got 2 wins against Misha. Misha would like to do that
She'd
fight.
love that one back.
And
Yep.
it would be something that Ronda would kind of go into with confidence.
Yeah.
Which is what she needs. That's what she needs. Misha's not known as a big puncher. So,
but I mean, I could also see that Ronda wants that fight back with Holly.
Yeah, maybe for a second one.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like she wants. Oh, you think a second one? You don't think a first one?
No. I think she needs to get and I'm not saying she get the win against Misha. Maybe she doesn't. But if she gets a win against Misha, that gives her confidence. She's going to feel better about things. She's coming. She's got the monkey off her back as far as her last fight being a loss. Last 2 fights being losses. So, I think she needs a win, and she needs to gain confidence before taking on someone like Holly, who, has a win over.
I guess. I mean, if you're gonna get in, you might as well get in against the one that you want to beat. I mean, not
Get
the one
in
you've
deep,
already.
huh?
Because I feel like there's more pressure when you've already beaten someone twice. What have I got to prove? Trevor Pranglin, when he fought Chael, he beat him twice. Both times, both fights together were under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like not one fight and then one fight under 3 minutes. No, both of them together combined, the time limits were under 3 minutes. Trevor subbed him twice.
Until the third one.
Yeah, until the third one. And the motivation I could see, Trevor was like, he's going to take me down. I'm going to hit him with submission. It's going to be over. That didn't work that way. It didn't work that way at all. And I think what happens, the reality check is when you get in there and it's not the way you had planned it, you start reeling going, man, how do I fix this? It's too late. It's a snowball. Yeah. It's already running downhill and you can't catch up to it. And so I look at it like she doesn't gain anything by beating Misha. Don't get me wrong, I'd still love to watch it. I love watching both of them fight. But there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more nerves. For me, anyways, there would be a lot more nerves knowing that I've already beat that person twice. There's not really much for me to gain.
Yeah, but take a look at how long the layoff. Take a look at how long the layoff is.
It's been a long time. What is it, 6 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6, 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. When was the last time she fought?
It's been at least 5.
2016. Oh,
6
wow.
years,
Jeez.
almost.
2016.
6 years by the time she fights, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a long time. Damn, that's a long time. Yeah, so, 6 years. I don't know. I think I look at the way Holly has been fighting lately. Speed is not what it used to be. The movement still is not really what it used to be. All of those things. But we don't know what We don't know what
Ronda
will be like.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I don't think that she has look, getting into a camp though. How old is Ronda?
She's 36.
36. Yeah.
She left when she was a baby.
Oh yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, she's 30 years old when she left, man.
John, I think I'm gonna call it, man. I think that Ronda's gonna end up fighting Holly Holm. I think she wants that one back. I think that one bugs her the most. I don't think the Misha ones, I don't think she thinks anything of it. Like, I've already beat her twice. What am I going to do? I'm looking forward to seeing 36. She's not too old. I was thinking maybe she was 38. She don't even look 36, but I'm saying, I thought she left when she was like 34, 30, I was like, oh, okay, I get it, 33, 34. No, she's young. Jeez. Yep. She was in her, just 30. She was a baby. All right. Then she went off and had babies.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Good for her, though, man. If she does come back, good. If she doesn't, hey, enjoy the rest of your life. All right. Next, what else you got for us?
All right. We have a fight announcement. We have a 185 Brendan Allen versus Paul Craig for November 18th.
Dave always finds a way to bring this up.
Boy, he likes bringing in Paul Craig. I tell you what.
You got a fight? What you talking about?
Podcast Dave was right about Paul Craig going down to 185. Though he looked really good, and his stand up looked efficient. I'm not going to say it was great, but it's efficient. It was efficient enough for him to take a fight to the ground, get a win. So Brendan Allen is a guy that's got good stand up. He's got a good ground game. Obviously, I don't think he's got a ground game that he wants to get into a ground battle with Paul Craig, that wouldn't be the smartest thing. I think you're going to see Brendan Allen trying to use his speed and his angles in trying to get Paul Craig out of there while on the feet.
Will that body size and that strength of Paul Craig be enough to be able to get him down and control the top position? I don't think that Paul Craig wants to be underneath him, because Brendan Allen's not bad from the top position. He's got good ground and pound. He's got good submission defense. He's got good submissions. Look, it's one thing to go from the 205-pound division, where a lot of those guys at 205, they're athletic, more athletic than heavyweights, obviously. But my point. But they're not all great grapplers. Whereas Paul Craig is a good grappler. At 185, the grapplers start to get a little bit better. They start to know the ground a little bit more. Now, I know that the top guys in that division are the strikers, but it's or it used to be Alex, but it is still Izzy. But it's like, you've got Paulo Acosta, you've got Izzy. Who else is at that top division? In the top there, Duplessis, striker. Cannonier's got big power. He's good takedown. You have Vittori, good striking. Strickland, good striking. Paulo Acosta, good striking. Delizzi can do it all. Brunson, more of a wrestler. Hermanson, more of a wrestler grappler. But I mean, I'll look at that. Should be, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think that Paul Craig, if he can get this fight, control Brendan Allen, he's gonna have to do the whole Rocky and the chicken thing, man. He's going to have to cut the cage off, not take any big shots coming in, and clinch him up. I wish he would learn how to use, like I was talking about with the heavyweights, John, foot sweeps, body locks, big lifts, not lifts, but big like body lock, lift the foot a little bit and sweep it.
You don't even have to do the bit, just a tilt.
Yeah, just something, man.
So you don't have to lift the whole body and just get that weight going in a direction that you block it off.
It drives me crazy when I see guys just shooting double legs after double legs and double legs against the fence. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So, but hey, it works for him, man. He's okay with falling down onto a leg lock to try to get to the top position or pulling people into guard. And physically, I think he's a specimen, man. I feel like he's physically really strong, and I think he'll be strong for the weight class. So we'll see what happens. It's good. Styles make matchups. So we're going to see how this fight plays out.
That's it.
All right, what else?
But it's a good match.
All right, let's move on to this next one here. Demetrius Johnson had made comments about how easy it is to become an MMA champion. And Josh, I know you had some beef with this comment. I'll let you
go.
No, I want to, John, you said you had some stuff to say, so I'm going to let you go first. And before we even start, though, how much do we love Demetrius Johnson?
I love Demetrius.
We love DJ,
fantastic.
Man. He is someone that carries himself with class no matter what he does and where he goes. And I still think he's probably top 1 or 2 pound for pound list right now. Still to this date, he is a fantastic fighter. He is more of a fantastic person. And, but I am gonna poke a little, some little barbs at him for this one. But go right ahead, John. Is there some, you were texting earlier on the thread that we were talking about? You were going to say something. Go ahead.
I'm just look at numbers alone tell you that Demetrius is wrong. All right, and I know he says look at Brock Lesnar. Heavyweights is a different breed, and you've got to look at it that way, because you could take someone like a Brock Lesnar who's a very good athlete, fast for a big man that can wrestle. That's the kind of person that in the heavyweight division could actually become the champion. And you got to also, and I'm not putting, my man down in any way, but Randy Couture, when he lost to Brock Lesnar, was how old? Mm-hmm. So that had a little bit to do with Brock being effective at that time. As Randy was, he was 45, 46 years of age at the time. So it's not like it when he was coming off of a long layoff because he was trying to actually get free from the UFC. So there's all kinds of things that happen with it and everything. But let's take a look at how many boxing weight classes are there?
There's a lot.
How many?
I don't know, 12.
17.
There you go.
17 boxing weight classes, okay? All the way from minimum weight to heavyweight. But everything in between is, bantamweight, super bantamweight, featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight, super light. They have it's 17. Okay. So you have 17 weight classes. And then let's take a look at, you have the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF. Because if you're really taking a look at being a champion in MMA, it's got to be one of 4 is the way I look at it. All right. It's the UFC. It's Bellator. It's the PFL. It's 1. So you got those 4 because those are the top 4. Now, I'm not saying I give credit to guys that fight in KSW. There's some great fighters there, but it's not considered the same as world champion because most people, that's always for the most part, usually in Poland. It's not going to be the same. You could look and say Ryzen, okay, but for the most part, it's going to be those 4. So now that's the same as, WBA, WBO, WBC, all that stuff. And there's even more as far as the sanctioning bodies for boxing. But you've already got 17 weight classes. The most you could have in MMA is to say that there's 14 weight classes. Okay, but first off, no one uses super heavyweight. Okay. And then you've got the weight class of 175 and 165 that no one uses. There's never been a champion either one. So you got to get rid of those. All right. So really you're talking about 10 because you have atom weight, mostly women. You don't have any men champions in that. All right. You do have straw weight. Straw weight works for women. We don't have any men champions in that. And it really starts with men at flyweight. And we have obviously flyweight at 125 pounds for women too. So when you're taking a look at saying women, it's going to go from atom weight to upper, category at lightweight. If you're going to go with men, it's going to go from flyweight to heavyweight. That's basically, you're looking at 10. So now you've got 10 weight classes instead of 17 weight classes. How is it going to be easier to become champion when there's less? It's just not. Okay. There's more chances to become champion as a boxer than there is as an MMA fighter, just numbers wise. Now you can sit there and say anything you want about, but take a look at some of these things. Josh, tell me, how many people have you known that have won multiple titles in MMA?
That's like a handful. DC, Connor,
okay, and they're there.
DC,
John Jones, DC, Connor, Pitbull.
Yeah.
There are guys out there that have done it, but they're it's not that common a thing. Okay, name me a guy that's won 3.
None.
Three different weight classes.
In the King of the Cage.
No, that's not.
I get what you're saying. I'm just
that's regional.
Yeah, I get it.
That's not world champion. Yeah. I don't go with someone winning the United States.
No one's done it.
Title.
No one's done it.
Nobody. Okay, so how many titles? And this, this taking nothing away, but let's take a look. Who's won the most titles of any boxer ever? Weight classes, titles. Manny Pacquiao.
Okay.
8 different titles and weight classes. Okay. Because he started off as a just ungodly small guy.
Yeah.
The next, I believe no one's got 7. 6 is Oscar De La Hoya. Mm-hmm. Okay. But you can take a look, there's a ton of guys that have had 4, guys that are still fighting today and everything. But if you go back and you look at old boxing, when like Sugar Ray Robinson was fighting, and you take a look at that time when there was 8 weight classes, how many guys had multiple titles? Well, Sugar Ray Robinson was one. He had welterweight. He won the middleweight, right? And he lost at light heavyweight, even though he was winning the whole fight. It wasn't an easy thing to do. With all the weight classes, it's become much easier to do. And so when I look at what Demetrius is saying, you can just go off of numbers and go, not really true. To sit there and say title-wise, there's a lot of titles out there. There's a lot of titles you can look at and say King of the Cage, LFA, Titan, Victory, all these different promotions out there. KSW, like I was saying, Octagon. There's so many different promotions, but those are not world titles.
Okay, I'm going to go in a different direction, but can you play what he said? Dave?
Which one?
No, what DJ said.
Oh.
Can you play what he said? It's a video clip.
Yeah, let me see. Let me
I didn't even hear what he said.
Yeah.
I just saw it.
All right, give me a second. I'll get over here, okay? I got to move over here.
No worries.
My
No
microphone's
worries.
far away.
Look, I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'm gonna strictly stick with what he is talking about because I listened to it earlier. I'm gonna go in the direction that he's talking. So I understand where you went with the boxing, and I completely agree. And I was actually gonna veer off in that way and a little bit of a rant too, but you cleared that up for everybody a lot better than I probably would have. So, but let's go ahead and see if we can hear him what he said. And before, and I love Luke Thomas. I imagine this will upset some MMA bitter enders, but Mighty Mouse is very much correct. Let me go ahead and hear what Mighty Mouse has to say.
Mixed martial arts is the easiest sport to become a champion in because when you fight boxing, it's boxing. Every person you fight in boxing is going to be good at boxing. Everybody you fight in kickboxing is going to be good at kickboxing. When you do mixed martial arts, you're going to have people who have significant big holes in them, right? You have a guy like Alex Pereira, he's 6-1, now he's 7-1. He's became a world champion in mixed martial arts, right? So for that person, they're both good at striking. But once somebody comes into mixed martial arts, they can have a huge hole in mixed martial arts and become a world champion, right? Like they can have no wrestling experience and still become a world champion. You look at Brock Lesnar, he became a world champion in mixed martial arts and he had no stand-up experience whatsoever. So that's why I say mixed martial arts is the easiest sport to become a world champion because you can have deficiencies and still become a world champion. In boxing, kickboxing, you can't have any deficiencies. You have to be a good boxer in order to become a world champion. You just have to.
Okay, so he does have a point. There are holes in people's games in MMA because there's so many different types of martial arts.
So many things allowed.
So many things allowed. Correct, and he is correct in that area. But where I'm gonna try to pick this apart a little bit, and I love DJ, and I think I understand what he's trying to say. But using Brock and using Alex as an example, and I'm gonna use him as an example as well, is you just pick the 3 weakest weight classes in the whole sport. And I've always said this, and it drives John nuts, but I'm going to continue to say it. Heavyweights, 205 pounders and 125 pounders are the weakest weight class. There's not a lot of them out there that are good and well-rounded. DJ, that's why he is so damn good. That's why he's such a freak, is because he's so good everywhere. He's good on the feet. He's got good wrestling. He's extremely dynamic and fast. His fight IQ is fucking probably the best in the game we've ever seen. He is a brilliant fighter. Nobody else is on his level. And there's not a lot of them at 125. There's not a lot of guys that are walking around 125 pounds or 140 pounds that can make 125 and fight at the level of him. No, Henry Cejudo was the only one out of the years that he was the champion there that even gave him somewhat of a challenge. You know, I mean, there was the guy from the Ultimate Fighter that came on. It was a scrappy little fight. Yeah, but DJ ran away with it. DJ was a very dominant. DJ still is a dominant fighter. At the heavyweight division, anytime, and I've said this repeatedly, Brock Lesnar came in. If you have a wrestler in the heavyweight division, they are 9 times out of 10 going to win that division because heavyweights do not wrestle. If you look at the guys that are there right now, none of them really can wrestle. Some of them now are starting to get good on the ground. Why do you think like guys like Verdum were so good? Why do you think guys like Cain Velasquez in DC were so good? John Jones at heavyweight is going to be fucking a terror because he can wrestle. And he's got submissions and he can strike. I mean, these guys are so good in those areas. And when you talk about Alex getting to 185, which I've said, the 85-pound division is probably one of the weakest, if not the weakest division in the sport. And I'm not knocking Izzy. I'm not knocking Alex. I'm not knocking anybody that fought at 185. I'm just simply telling you that is where the weight classes start to separate from each other. At 185 pounds, those athletes are playing football, baseball, or had dreams of being football players and baseball players and tennis players or whatever sports that actually make a shit ton of money. They ran with that because they were probably on that level. So you're not going to get those fighters, the top level athletes, to come into fighting when like, why the hell would I get punched in the face when I have a chance to play college ball and then maybe make it to the pros and make millions and millions of dollars? and hundreds of millions of dollars. And so those fighters have taken themselves out of that equation in terms of MMA. Those are the things that I'm looking at when I'm hearing his argument. You took the weight classes and Alex Pereira, they made that opportunity. And that's where this is a little shady too. It's not shady. It's just that the promotion knew that Izzy had been on a run and they wanted to get...
He'd been on a run, but he had a kickboxing career with this individual who had beaten him several times, one by decision, one by knockout. And they looked at it. This is called marketing. And so they pushed that agenda.
And that's where it's different from, that's when you were talking about the boxing. That's where it's different. The UFC has the ability to put somebody in there and build them to get them to the title faster than if somebody was in boxing where, no, we'll wait.
Yeah.
We'll wait until we're ready to fight you. That's why we never see the best boxers fight the best boxers.
Well, it's also because you have a sanctioning body that WBA or WBC that don't get along. They don't agree on a certain thing. So that fighter gets pushed down, one gets pushed up. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that take place in those. So that fighter can't at that, to say can't. Most of the time, almost 100%, unless you're Vasily Lomachenko, you're not going to get that championship fight right away because there's too many guys that have these records that are being, kind of padded, but not all of them, but most of them are being padded. If you're a Lomachenko, you get it based upon 400 fights in the amateurs, 2 gold medals, things like that.
I was sitting with the manager the other day and having a conversation with him, and he was talking about how, look, if you're a boxer, you're the best boxer in the world. And in my mind, I'm like, no, you don't, because your promoter is probably holding you back away from the best boxers in the world because they don't want you to lose because you're the cash cow. It's no different than when you watch Rocky 3, Clubber Lang and Rocky Balboa. His manager kept him away from that fighter. For how long? Because he didn't want him to fight him because he knew he couldn't beat him because Rocky's head was in a different area. Whatever it was. Okay, I'm giving you guys something to feed it off of. But it really comes down to that. The promoters of each fighter in boxing has the ability to shut down fights.
Look at Eddie Hearn.
Yes.
Eddie Hearn has Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua beats freaking Klitschko and is the monster, and he was keeping him away from people. And he puts him in a fight with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz beats him, because he was trying to manipulate exactly what you're talking about.
So what happens is they play their favors, whether it's the promoters for boxing and whether it's the promoters in whatever MMA promotion. They're trying to fast track someone to get there. So no, I'm not in agreement with him. Maybe that is easy to become champion. Maybe it's easier, I should say, to become champion. But in the heavyweight, 205, 185, and 125.
Okay.
But I'm sorry. No one's coming off the street 6-1 and winning the title in the lightweight and the featherweight and the bantamweight division. Bullshit. I call bullshit. There's just no way. I would even say the same thing about 170. That's that 35 to 70 pound range. Those guys, they're the most well-rounded fighters in the game. I mean, outside of DJ. They're the most well-rounded fighters in the game. They're fucking animals. They're good on the feet. They're good wrestling. The years of the double leg takedown being effective, they're far and gone in those weight classes.
Gone.
You've got to chain wrestle. You've got to hit the single to the double to the fence and then bounce you off the fence and lift and scoop and turn you away from the fence and get you back in the middle of the cage. Those days that's what it is now. The old days, they're gone. The striking has gotten so much better. They're just animals on the feet now. Checking kicks, kicking the rear leg, mixing up the combinations. And you're like, man, I didn't even think these people can move like that. These kids are fucking animals in those weight classes. So I disagree with him. Got nothing but respect for him. But he chose the weight classes to pick his argument. And of course, those are the weakest weight classes in the sport. Now, I'm not saying, like I'm going to repeat again, I'm not saying that those fighters are not spectacular. I'm just saying that the well-roundedness of those divisions are not there. And the amount of people in the flyweight division is just not there. Okay, you have top 2 or 3, and that's it. There's not a lot in that division to choose from. So I love DJ. I understand where he was going with it and why he thinks that way, but that ain't happening from 135 to 170. Nobody's coming in like Alex Pereira came in and is going to win titles in 6-7 fights. It ain't going to happen. And if someone can you point out someone that has done that in those weight classes? I mean, outside of since the beginning of the sport, BJ Penn or anything like that. You
can't go with the beginning of the sport because there just wasn't enough there. But I mean, you can take. All right, I'm going to get killed for this, but let's just be on. Well, let's just be honest about it. Mike Tyson, great fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, most people would say so. And you take a look at Mike Tyson in his career and what he did, and what did Mike Tyson live off of?
His power.
He lived off of power. Okay? He wasn't a guy that, yes, he had a jab that he would throw. He used, a certain, peekaboo style of boxing and stuff. But when someone could match him in intensity and power, things started to fall off for him. Take a look at, when Mike Tyson, he won the title. But who did he win it against? Trevor Berbick. Mm-hmm. Was it the great heavyweight champion? No. Okay. When he fought quality fighters, the big guy, the big time guys, Evander Holyfield came from the cruiserweight. Mm-hmm. He was a cruiserweight champion. Comes up, starts beating guys in the heavyweight. He ends up beating Buster Douglas because Tyson loses to him. And then he's supposed to fight Tyson, and that whole thing falls apart, when Tyson goes to prison, which was bullshit. But is what it is. I'm just saying. And so finally, when he comes out, Tyson gets the title again. He fights Peter McNeely, gets the title, and then he's the champion, going to face Holyfield after Holyfield had lost it to Riddick Bowe and stuff. But take a look at those fights. The first fight, Evander Holyfield against Mike Tyson, it's a good fight. But Mike Tyson gets beat by a guy that doesn't back down to him. Can take his shot and doesn't back down because Mike Tyson was a power fucking, heavyweight champion. He lived off of power. But that's the same as Brock Lesnar being one-dimensional with his wrestling. Mm-hmm. I'm not comparing Mike Tyson and Brock Lesnar, but you've got to take a look in heavyweight divisions, be it in boxing or MMA. Many guys are one-dimensional. You don't get the guys that are fantastic boxers. Ali came around one time, okay? And Ali, for the most part, didn't hit hard until he would set his feet, and then he could hit hard because he was a big heavyweight and he could throw. But most of the time, he was moving around, so he was up in the air a lot of times, and he would just piece you up with all this volume and everything. But you take a look, heavyweights as a whole, be it in boxing or MMA, you could be more of a one-dimensional type of guy and be successful and win that championship. Same as what Brock Lesnar did. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just look at it numerically. It tells you. You can sit there and take a look at anything. There's way more weight classes, way more ways to become a champion as a boxer.
Well, my thing with the boxing industry is that you don't know because there's fighters out there that are so damn good that don't work with an agent, don't work with a manager, or they don't want to work with that manager, so they don't get signed by anyone, and then that person just falls off into the abyss. Like that happens to these boxers all the time. They're putting in all their work, they're having great performances on the lower shows, but no one will sign them. No big agent will sign them, or they do sign them and they don't do shit with them. They just get them beat by one of their other fighters who they think is more marketable. So no, I don't think that the best boxers are always the ones that are 40-0 or 50-0 or whatever, 20-0 going into boxing because they've got padded records to get themselves there. And secondly, if that person's undefeated, that's the one thing I hate about boxing. The person who is undefeated is going to always get pushed as if he's the better boxer than the person who's got one or two more losses. Well, we've seen in MMA that that's not true. Give that fighter an opportunity, but boxing doesn't do that. Once you lose your O, you're pretty much forgotten. Or if you have one more fight and you lose again, you get 2 losses, you're pretty much forgotten. Outside of the ones that have been able to survive that, Sugar Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker, like these guys, they were only able to get away with it, and Cotto, they were only able to get away with it because they had each other to fight. Because they knew that these Margarito and those guys, they knew that no matter where you matched them up, the fans were going to get a great fight. That's not the case in every single boxing match. So,
look, I'm going to say this. It's a motherfucker to become a world champion in boxing and in MMA.
Yeah, true.
Not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. I just didn't like that he used the example of the weight classes that, and I'm like, hey, man. So, all right. Well, hey, what else you got for us, Dave?
Yeah, let's look at this. Bellator 300 announced the rest of their card outside of the main card that was already released. And just want to get your thoughts on the rest of this card. If there's anything noteworthy the fans should know about to call
there's
it
a
on.
couple in there.
Okay.
This is the McMahon versus McCourt. Good to see Sarah McMahon coming back fast. We've seen that Leah McCourt, she's just tough. She will take on and she'll fight with anyone. She's really good on the ground. Her stand-up's gotten better, but I want to say that Henry Corrales is taking on Kai Kamaka III. That's a great fight. Kai Kamaka has really come into his own. He's now fighting smart. He's fast. He's got great wrestling. He's got super good stand-up, and he loves to just throw his hands. He's a crazy Hawaiian. You just got to just scrap brawl. He's got that mentality. So that is a great fight. And then Bobby Cerronio III versus Alberto Garcia is another one. That's a great fight.
Yeah, those are the two fights that I was looking at, to be honest. And I'm thinking to myself, man, Cerronio is from the Bay Area. I know him. I know his family. Know his fan base. He can sell tickets, man. He is a big draw.
He's good everywhere.
He's good everywhere. His last performance wasn't great. I don't know what was going on, but it wasn't a great performance. He could have done a lot better. I know he still won, but it wasn't a great performance. And he's dynamic, good on the ground, good on the feet, Taekwondo style stand up with good submissions and good takedowns. So looking forward to seeing him back in the cage. And then Henry Corrales and Kai Kamaka. I can't say enough about Kamaka, man. And I like Henry Corrales a lot.
Henry Corrales, same thing.
Henry has turned basically, though, into just boxing. Not a lot of kicking. If he kicks a little bit more, he's got good kicks. He just chooses not to use them. He used them a little bit more in his last fight, which helped open up his striking. But Kai Kamaka is he just got a shit into the stick in the UFC when he was there. And then when he left and came over to Bellator, it was just a good fit. They allowed himself to build himself back up. And then now his last two fights, he has really been on point. His confidence is there, and you're seeing a different version of Kai Kamaka, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight, especially against Henry. Next.
Yep.
All right, the next fight here. Did you want to go through any more of this?
No, this is good.
No.
Nope.
Okay. So this next one is Jon Fitch was talking to Jimmy Smith on a podcast, and he was talking about managers getting sued. And all of this. And Josh, I've listened to this a couple of times. You understand it a little bit better. I do have the audio clip if you want me to play it here for you.
Yeah.
And then you get you guys to respond to it. Anything you want to say before I roll the clip?
Well, look, people have been hitting us up about this whole class action lawsuit thing. They got pushed through a little bit further. But John and I, the reason why we haven't talked about it is because it has so much further to go. There's so many things. There's so many different steps. And I think this definitely is a step in the right direction. But I'm not going to go putting all my eggs in one basket and start saying, oh, this is a big deal. It is a big deal, okay? But there's so much more that needs to happen before we should all start getting excited, okay? Before we all start getting a little wet down there, okay? So let's just take it one step at a time, and I understand. But where I wanted to point out was Jon Fitch brought up a good point in this scenario. There has been emails apparently exchanged, and there has been conversations back and forth that apparently have been recorded or are on file or in some sort of, what is it called, discovery, where fighters, these managers have been left out of this class action lawsuit. And I won't be surprised if managers have come into this, because like Sean O'Malley was saying, these managers, you need to fear the managers that are in cahoots or close friends with the promoters, because those promoters or those managers could be potentially selling you out for other things. And John, you want to listen to what Jon Fitch had to say there first?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it there, Dave.
All right, here we go.
What are you really looking forward to when it comes to this trial, when it comes to discovery, which got noticeable gasps, by the way, in the courtroom, like, oh my God, it's all going to be unsealed. What do you want out there in the public?
I got to correct one thing about that unsealing. Please. Okay. The unsealing. So there was over like 100,000 to like,
it's more like
documents.
1 million.
There's so many documents that have been collected in discovery, right? A lot of the meat of like dirty managers and dirty tricks behind the scenes are in there, but not all of those things were admitted into the court case. So the things that are going to be unsealed are only the documents and only the stuff that is specifically being used in the court case. So there's a lot of managers who are dodging a bullet right now because there's a lot of guys who can and should be sued for breaching that fiduciary responsibility for their athlete.
For people who don't know, a manager has a fiduciary responsibility to their client, not the promotion itself. And what happens a lot of times is managers want to get in with the promotion more than they want to help out their fighter. That's am I correct? They
play the long game. If they're buddy with the promoter, if they hook the promoter up, if they do favors for the promoter and screw over their athletes, they get more money and more opportunities from the promoter. The athlete has a short lifespan. They'll get a new one. He'll go somewhere else. He'll retire. The manager will stay there and keep making money, keep screwing people over. And it can go even deeper than that. I think Nate Quarry has a story about his manager not telling him about a fight that was offered, a title shot fight that was offered that would have paid him pretty well, and not even telling him and offering it to him, and so he could give it to one of his teammates because he wanted that guy to get the money instead of Nate. So that's a violation of fiduciary responsibility. He screwed over one of his athletes to booster another athlete and probably do something buddy for the promoter.
Are those the kind of messages and the kind of, let's say it, dirty laundry that you would like to see aired?
Yes, that's the type of stuff that people need to understand about their managers. A lot of them are undercutting you and screwing you over.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go, and then
what? No, go ahead.
I mean, there has been a lot of like Sean O'Malley brought this a little bit up, and I did a small little Punk's opinion on it, and but this is exactly what he's talking about. This is where he is. This is the things that he is talking about, where your manager is buddy with the promoter or buddy with an organization, and next thing you know, you're not getting the fights that you want, but your manager's other clients could be. And how is that possible? Or how is it being worked out? Or why is so-and-so getting this and I'm not getting this? Now, some of it could be marketability. Some of it could be just your bad attitude. Some of it could be all of those things. But your manager has, like they say, a fiduciary right to take care of you. If an offer is presented to the UFC or presented to the UFC presents your manager an offer. By the UFC. By the promoter to the manager. They by law are supposed to at least tell you about it and say if you don't want it, you don't want it. Cool, but they have to inform you of what the offer is. And these type of things, I continue to think this, John. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's going to turn into when promotions start to go away, and if Bellator does go away, and no one knows. Okay. And if anyone tells you they do know whether the whole Bellator thing is going to go away, no one knows. Nothing's changed. My thing is this can go into when promotions start falling off, you're going to start seeing some pay to play situations, like how the coaches from from college used to pay players to come to their organization. Now will it be fighters, managers paying promotions to get their fighters in, even though they're not the best fighter? And that's the buddy situation, like kind of thing.
Well, did you just say a manager paying the promotion?
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
There's no manager that's going to pay no promotion. They're not taking any money out of their pockets. Let's be honest as far as that.
Okay.
Name the guy that's going to be paying the promotion.
I'm just saying. It's going to get to a point when there's only one location to go or two locations to go.
Okay.
I think you're going to start seeing, or let's just say it's not pay. Let's say it's, okay, look, I'll give you these two guys for the price of one. those set, like I'll give you my 2 fighters from here instead of me taking them over there where I know you want. I'll give you, if you take this one and this one both, I'll give you a third one. You know, those type of deals will happen. I'll give you this third guy also, like, you know, and bring him along too. And those type of agreement, those type of negotiations will be made. And that's going to affect the fighters. That's going to affect their bottom line.
Look, I'm not going to sit there and say that a fighter, you know, that is of a caliber, and I'm not going to use the name.
No.
But it is absolute that a manager will use a top tier talent fighter that they manage to bring in other fighters that they manage into a promotion. Mm-hmm. No doubt they do that. They're going to use the influence of that star fighter that they have to help bring other guys that they're managing into getting a contract with that promotion. That happens now.
Yeah,
you know
does,
that.
yeah.
I know that. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's really not that the fighter themselves who is being used, he's not losing anything in that. And like I'm gonna put it out there right now. There's some really good managers out there. There's some really good, decent guys who really care about their clients and do things right. And there's been guys that I looked at and I go, you're scum, because I don't like the way that they deal with things. And it's, you know, that's just going to be that way. I think what Jon is trying to say to Jimmy here is, I wish the judge would pull these managers into this class action suit, but there's too many arms going in different directions. You got to focus in on what is the main crux. And for these fighters that are suing right now, the main crux is the UFC. They're saying that the UFC is the one that is a monopoly, has held them back, has paid them less, has done all these things, has controlled things like their name and voice and likeness in perpetuity and all these things. And that's what they're saying they should be paid for. Okay. Right now, the courts are agreeing with them, and that's why the case is going on. But like, you know, you and I have talked about, this thing can end at any moment. Mm-hmm. Now, it can end in a lot of different ways. It could be that the UFC comes to an agreement with the fighters and they have, you know, an agreement that is signed and they pay certain amounts and it goes away. And there will be, you know, a non-disclosure that goes with it. No one's going to be able to say exactly what, you know, was agreed upon, but it goes away that way. It's a possibility that can happen. It could be that the courts actually throw it out. That's a possibility. It could be that it goes to court and the fighters end up winning. There's a lot of different ways for this thing to play out. Right now, it's working out well. And when you're talking about all of these documents that they're talking about, you know, discovery, when, you know, what, I don't know if everyone understands what discovery is, but when you're talking about discovery and you're talking about a large corporation like the UFC with tons of, you know, contracts and all these things that happen, when you ask for discovery and you want this material, trust me, they're going to give it to you because they have to, but boy, they're going to be giving it to you in bulk.
Yeah.
And they'll be, you know, and there's going to be things that they'll try to kind of, you know, hide to the side and give you stuff, but it's work to go through it. And when, you know, you're talking about a ton of time with lawyers and stuff, and lawyers make money at this. This is why lawyers want, you know, they want it to go on because they can make money. And the longer it goes on, the more money they make on both sides. You know, it's just the way it is. But I look at this and it's like, are there good managers out there? There are. Are there bad managers out there? There are. No doubt about it. But you can't, you know, you can't sit there and paint everyone with the same broad stroke.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think I agree that there's a lot of great managers out there. And there are some shady ones, or there was some shady ones also. The fighters have a claim to something. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna find this all out, but there's so many steps, Jon, and that's the thing. This is the beginning, it has so much further to go, and I don't know. There was some other stuff that he had said, but I here's I guess for me, where do you expect this thing to go? Like in the rest of this interview, he said something. John goes, to start off, fighters shouldn't have to have more than a year-long contract. Look, I'm okay with certain stuff, but now you're changing the sport. And the sport is what makes this, like the way they handle this stuff right now is what makes it great. Now, I also think if you become champion, you defend it your 1 time or your 2 times, and then you should be a free agent to go fight whoever it is that is out there. Whatever, but to think that you're going to bring in the All Elite Act and it's going to just make everything better, that's a load of shit. And boxing's proven that. The All Elite Act, it keeps boxing from being what boxing should be. And don't get me wrong, maybe the fighters are a little bit better paid, but there's less of them on a card. There's less of them that people know. And I don't like the boxing format, and I don't think a lot of people that go to watch boxing, they only go to watch the main event. They don't go to actually watch the prelims. They don't really care about the other fighters that are below. They don't care. They only want to see the top fighters, and those fighters are propped up, I guess I'd say, or sometimes their records are a little padded, and the promoters will sell you. These promoters can do a damn good job of being promoters. They're telling you this fighter's the best in the world because he's undefeated, but in reality, the guy who's got 2 losses over there, we all know he's probably the best in the world. And that's the most frustrating part. So where are we going with this? Exactly. That's what I want to know with this class action lawsuit. Are you just looking to get paid a little bit? Are you looking to change the rules to the game? If you're looking to change the rules to the game, what is that? And how much are you looking to change it? Are you looking to, like he said, a year-long contract? What promoter is going to, you might as well turn it into boxing. What promoter
most fighters aren't going to want to win a 1-year contract.
No, they want to make money.
No.
They want there's a little
and
security.
They don't want the stress of knowing after I fight this fight, I may have one more, and then I got to have another contract either done. Or are they going to want to recycle? There's comfort in some ways. What I would say is, what I would like to see is, I would like to see that if a promoter gives you, we'll say, a 4-fight contract, then unless you do something that breaks that contract with the promoter, they owe you the 4 fights. They can't get rid of you after the 1. That's
true. I like
because right now, they can get rid of you at any time they want. Yes, you have a 4-fight contract until they say, we're releasing you. Mm-hmm. Now you got nothing. So if you sign for 4 fights, I'd like to see them have to give you the 4 fights.
No, I agree. And that's kind of what there's really no guarantee contracts in the NFL. Look, and it's hard to give guaranteed contracts in combat sports and in sports like football because the injuries are there. The injuries are all there. I don't know where it's going to head. And that scares me a little bit based on that. You have 15 fights on a card, on a pay-per-view card, and that's 30 fighters that are all going home, feeding their families. They're all going home and, taking care of whatever responsibilities. Some of these guys don't have anything else. And that's 30 fighters on a card. Boxing has what? 4? Maybe 5 fights on a card. That's 10. Like that.
If you 6 to 8.
Yeah, and all the money's going where? To the top.
To the guys in the main event.
The main and the co-main. I'd say sometimes you'll get a good co-main randomly. Randomly, you'll get a good co. Come on. You understand what I'm saying? So I like that they're fighting for this. I do. But where do you cut it off? And also too, what is the sellout point? What is the number that you're looking to get at to where you don't want them to change anything? Because that's what the UFC may potentially do. Come in and just say, hey, we're not changing shit. What's your number? Okay. Here's the number. Now fucking go away. Okay. We're done with this.
That's my point.
And that could potentially happen. So they're going to have to figure out what's in their mind, what's their number, and how much money are you giving to your lawyers to make up that number. So don't just think, I got a big fat number of 300 million. Okay, I got a big fat number of 300 million, but 180 of it goes to where? Or 200 of it goes to your lawyers for all this time they spent. You know, and now you got 1,200 fighters, I believe, is who they're talking about. 12 or 1,300 fighters on this roster.
1,200
during that
1,215
time
or something
span
like
of
that.
which they're talking about. So in that, you're going to pay 1,300 fighters, you know, however much money, you know, out of the, what, I don't know, it's a random number, say 40 million. You know, you gotta figure out where is this headed? How much do you want it to actually affect the sport? Are you really changing the sport for the good? Or are you just taking away the ability for other people that had the dream of fighting in the UFC? Where do you draw the line? Where is it going? Anyways, look, I got a lot of respect for all the guys that are doing this. I think it's like Nate Marquardt,
Nate Mark, Jon Fitch.
Who else? I think Kane was part of it, I think, in the beginning. I'm not sure if he is now. Anyways,
I don't think he's part of it.
there was a group. It was like
It's like TG Dillashaw and George St. Pierre and a few others like that.
Yeah, is there? I think were they part of
Remember
something else? Wasn't there another
That was
group?
different.
That was different.
That was a
different
fighters
group.
union.
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah. All right, what else? There's let's wrap up on a couple things. There's some funny stuff that we're going to wrap up on, unless you had some other news.
I had one funny
Okay.
one.
Oh, you have one? Okay, let's talk
That's
about
it.
the
Do you
one
have
funny
multiple?
one.
All right.
I have a question. Yeah. I saw this online today, and I don't think it's true because I tried your birthday and how old you are, and maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I saw online today that everybody, if you add your year and how old you are, it comes out to 2023 today. So, wait,
What?
Rhea, what? I saw this online today.
Are you joking though? Like, are you being?
I saw this online.
Of course.
Oh my God!
Of course, the year you
This
were
is
born,
mind-boggling.
and the age that you are, you add those together, you get the current year that we're in.
She doesn't foolish.
It doesn't work for me because my month hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Hold it. And this is my problem.
Works.
And these are the people that vote.
Okay, well, whoever put this on their story
Oh my
acted like
God.
it was like the craziest thing.
She literally hit her with the line. This is how age
I
works.
was sitting in the car typing in all these. I was like, I typed in yours and I was like, wait, why isn't France working?
Because I haven't turned 29 yet. But once
Oh
I
my
do, it'll
God.
work.
I don't feel good right now about this at all.
I don't feel real
Wow,
good.
that
I
was.
think that beats like Portland.
I
think
needed
that
that.
might be like the worst.
You know what? I
thing.
really needed that to start my day.
Wow.
John.
This is okay. Hold on. And this is why I come up with lines like, "You're as sharp as a marble."
John. Now look, I've never claimed to be good at math. But she said that and I was listening to it and I went, huh? Like you didn't get it? Like this.
Ruh-oh, Raggy.
And then when the other girl goes, this is how age works, I was like, yeah, no shit.
Jesus Christ.
I just about fell out of my chair. What do you mean if you add your Oh man. John, it was funny. I wanted to end the show on a funny note. I know we were going to talk about the Jon Fitch situation, the class action lawsuit. So I wanted to make sure everyone left here with a smile and like, fuck, what is going on with society?
She was seeing
hilarious.
something that was mind-blowing.
Oh, man.
Mind-blowing.
It was so good.
And I kind of wish I had gotten Josh because you know Josh's math is bad.
No, it was horrible, man. It's horrible.
In fact, I kind of wish Josh hadn't told us about it and then come on here and been like, guys, did you know that if you take your year
my
and your age?
Oh, shit. All right, hey, guys, before we run along and run off, WayneInMerch.com, WayneInMerch.com. Check out some of our shirts and our apparel there. And we should be having some sweaters coming up soon, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, winter's coming up. We got hats on there. Are there hats on there?
Yeah, we do have a
All
hat.
right, we have hats there. We go. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. We got the new logo and we have the old school logo on there as well. So check it out. We got the hoodies up. Yep. Get ready, man. Winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
Another couple months, but still. Get it all ordered now. Get WayneInMerch.com.
Tell you what, fall is only a couple days away.
Yeah, not around here, man.
Fuck that. It's still summer.
It's 110 today. Oh,
John's fall off a ladder. Is
Dude, I didn't even fall off a ladder. You
fell.
Scottish
that one time,
bastard.
You fell.
that one time.
No. I didn't fall.
That one time at band camp.
I didn't fall off a ladder. I was taken off a ladder.
No.
There's a difference.
Yes.
That tree whooped your ass.
Oh,
All right. Jon, take us away, buddy.
for everyone out there, hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can figure out that if you take a year that you were born and add your age, it will come up to 2023. Very important point. Have a good one out there. We'll see you.
That's literally how you do your age.